r/ask Reddit. What makes a person boring? When they only talk about other people, like talking shit about people is their only personality. Agreeing with everything you say but never offering anything unique. Never in my life I have been offended so much with something that I 100% agree with. Talking about nothing but themselves. On the flip side, someone asking you so many questions that it feels like an interview, and when you try to turn the focus on them, they spike it right back. Having their personality centered around one single thing, and only that thing. I came here to be enlightened, not to be described, SMH. Today I learned, I'm a boring person. My brain is pretty much screaming in agony after reading this thread because I could relate to some parts but not to others, so I can't tell if I'm boring, not boring, or even half boring. That means you can be boring to one person and very interesting to another. This is how it works, I guess. I've met people who everybody adored but they seemed completely boring to me. When they agree with everything you agree with, you need to have your own opinions. This salad is excellent. I hate this restaurant and I hate your stupid face. Sally. Sally loves salad. Silly. No sense of humor. Is this supposed to be a joke or something? Cause I'm not laughing. They said I'd never be a comedian. Well, they're not laughing now. You can say that again, pal. My dad used to always say this, if you're bored, you're boring. I used to hate it, but there's some truth that the people in this world who are interesting are people who can find wonder in any situation. Relying on other people to make all decisions. I think I should upvote this, should I? I don't know, you tell me. What are your thoughts on the matter? This is too much pressure for me. Not being able to have a meaningful conversation. I sometimes struggle with this. There are people I can talk to easily, without seemingly running out of things to say ask. But if I feel I'm the one who has to initiate, I tend to get really wrapped up in my head about what to ask say next, and then assume the other person must think I'm dull cause I can't chit chat like a regular person. Then I see other people who can talk to anyone about anything and I'm like, was I sick the day they taught the talking like a normal person class at school? I have some similar problem. I can initiate but if the other person does not engage, well, here's an hour of awkward sitting and watching at cell phones. Not recognizing when no one is interested in what they're talking about. This skill is one of the worst to learn. Because you were always telling something you were excited about and realized no one else cared. I used to do this a lot with my wife. I'd find myself apologizing for boring her with stuff I was interested in when she was genuinely interested and actually listening to me. My exes hated the stuff I was passionate about and it made me apologies for being interested in something. Not being passionate about anything. I'm passionate about being unpassionate. Honestly, a lot of it comes down to storytelling. I remember listening to one of my cousins tell a story, and I realized it was super boring but I was super interested. So I started paying attention to the way she tells stories. I like to think people are more interested in what I have to say now, but also I've had a pretty ducking crazy life so far, so there's a lot to talk about. What sort of approach did you observe with your cousin's storytelling? I've been told I tell good stories. Basically you have to keep it short, progress linearly, understand which context is essential and which is merely fluff and filler. It's okay to tweak the truth a bit for efficiency's sake but not to make someone else look bad. When they don't ever do anything spontaneous, and act as if anything different unique is weird and embarrassing. Oof, this is the first one that's really got me. Also nothing worse than someone asking or expecting me to do something out of my comfort zone like karaoke or dancing. The second you want me to do it, it creates this imaginary pressure to me, and even if I might do it on my own, I definitely won't now. I get embarrassed way too easily at things that no one would consider embarrassing. No sense of humor and or sense of adventure. We all love a humorous adventurer. If you have utterly nothing in common with them, chances are you bore them just as much as they bore you. Tends to happen most with friends of a friend. A bore is someone who deprives you of solitude without providing you with company. Oscar Wilde. About 50% of this thread is people that misunderstand what the word boring means and comment on things that irritate them instead. People with no hobbies skills. I remember always struggling to answer those questions, what are your hobbies, and in hindsight, I was just super dull and barely living. You're boring if you don't post naked selfies on Reddit. Smooth. Semicolon. Close-mindedness. If you can't appreciate a different lifestyle, opinion, belief, etc. because yours in the right one, then I can't hold a conversation with you for more than 30 seconds. People whose only activity in life is smoking weed and drinking alcohol. Talking about smoking weed and drinking alcohol. Talking about how high or drunk they were, and wondering when the next time it is that they will smoke weed or drink alcohol, while also being very loud about all of it, in public, in front of anyone. Not wanting to do anything. I'm quite a boring person. I'm very talkative and have interests and hobbies that most other people don't have or can't relate with. So when I talk about them and in my mind I'm being very passionate, the other person listening is getting bored to death. Especially because I'm very old school, so most people perceive my interests as mom granny things, which just adds to the lame boring vibe. Also, I am not comfortable being silent and sometimes keep talking for the sake of it. This one gets so boring even my boyfriend admits sometimes he gets sleepy listening to me talk like that. People who talk at length about people I don't even know. My sister-in-law has been telling stories about her grandpa for 20 years. I've never met him. They aren't funny stories, just things he used to say, do, etc. Boring is subjective. What's fun for me is boring to you, so don't come at me and say me playing video games and watching anime is boring, as that's what I like. Sending pics of half their neck and shoulder on Snapchat with no caption every day without actually engaging you in a real conversation. Whoa, you made it to the end? You're a ducking beast. I'll cuss you a deal. Smash like and subscribe for more curated content, bruh. It's free and that's a great price.